Consistency seems to be the word of the tournament here. I almost went macho. Consistency is the word of the tournament.
Spreader. Now a Razor Shield for Historically Bad. Should be really safe here. Falls with a Spreader. Great drops early. Sigma, meanwhile, just getting a foot.
And now rockets for Historically Bad as well. And more rockets. What is going on, game?
These are some amazingly good opening drops for Historically Bad. And I don't know if Historically Bad splits by room, but that's a sub 80, and that could be a gold.
Would you say that they're historically good drops?
If you want to steal something from GG Speedrun, sure, yeah.
Well, it was in my brain, but I didn't want to just interrupt you with that.
It's okay. We're a conglomeration who have a hive mind. It's all good. So Sigma here, into Eat My Shrapnel, as is Historically Bad. We should talk about the room before we get too married husband and husband here. The goal of this room is to kill the set amount of swarmers and 18 Mr. Shrapnels, the roly-polies that run around the side of the screen. You can only have 4 on screen at a time in the Eat My Shrapnels, so you want to keep their numbers down. As you can see, Sigma struggling with this because no orb, no weapons, and no hope. Probably going to lose a bit of time. It was 201 for Historically Bad, and Sigma's going to be out at 215. She cannot be happy. And remember the thing I mentioned about Sigma and bad luck? It's kind of setting up. Oh no, Historically Bad missed it. Oh, but Sigma drops an orb.
It picked it up right at the moment that orb appears at about the 2 o'clock time frame, kind of in that upper right edge of the player sprite, and an enemy happened to be right there, and it just made the orb disappear just as quickly as it appeared. That orb, of course, doubling the firepower of the runners, so it's very important to hang on to it. Well, important to get it and then keep it for as long as possible.
And while that explanation was happening, we had Sigmafan get rockets, take a death. Historically Bad picked up an orb and a Razor Shield, and then Sigma's been on the Vitamin R train getting rockets and a Razor Shield, but no orb replacement. It's almost like they've been banging the thing back and forth like a tennis ball. So we'll see if Historically Bad drops the orb and it bounces back to the other side.
Hard to say, as we have about a 310 into the secret room for Historically Bad, and the number's starting to catch up to Sigma here, but just about to get to the end of the room, and probably going to be about a 15-second difference. Yep, 320, mid 325.
Yeah, it's going to be a solid 15 seconds here. Historically Bad coming in with about a third of the ammo in a spreader. Let's see what Historically Bad gets for an opening drop. It's spreaders, so a good weapon to control the room. Maybe get rid of a gunner or two. Right now seems more focused on just getting the swarmers. They are the thing that counts it out. And there goes the orb. Historically Bad, too close to the bottom door and gets clipped. Kills one of the wall gunners finally. Rockets for Sigma.
Oh, and there's the orb at the bottom, able to grab it, and yep, volleyed over to the other side.
Well, we'll have to see if Sigma can hold serve here or if it's going to bounce back to the other side. Meantime, Historically Bad now getting nothing, killing the second wall gunner, but really scrambling into a corner defense. Rockets now for Sigma. Really, the luck swinging back again the other way. And now a Razor Shield.
Well, meanwhile, we have rockets and more rockets over on Historically Bad's side. Should possibly finish the room, and does.
Ooh.
Yep.
Very nice by Sigma. Didn't need the rockets necessarily, but broke the Razor Shield to get those rockets at the bottom of the screen. The time has closed, but it's still a lead for Historically Bad into the Mutoid fight.
Yeah, but that lead closed to 4 seconds, so that was an 11-second catch-up on the part of Sigmafan, able to make up over 2/3 of that ground. And now taking a death here, fishing for a spreader, and instead gets grenades.
And just before that death, Sigmafan did get the ball buster. That's when you swing the orb into the base of Mutoid Man's skull, basically, the back of the neck, where 2 sprites meet. If you do that and the orb doesn't fly off screen, it just disappears. You deal 420 points of damage, or 42% of a single form. So a nice little damage boost there. The lead still belongs to Historically Bad, but not by much.
Both on the same form here, so less than a full form differential.
Historically
but the game is giving Sigma nothing here.
Historically Bad missed a lot of lobber shots. Oh, picks up the lobber and dies! Spreader now for Sigma. Missed it on the first pass, though, unfortunately. And it's going to have to be a manual attempt for Historically Bad. Not landing many as a foot. That makes it even harder. Manual still has the lead.
Head popping off here. Sigma waiting for the next drop. It is some rockets.
And we have a key on Historically Bad side. It was in an okay location. Right item color, but not the right item. Final form Historically Bad here. Looking to take game number 1 in this best of 5 matchup. Sigma pops the head.
Sigma needs a spreader now and gets one.
And Historically Bad took a death with a weapon in hand and a rocket waiting. It's a continue for Sigma. It will cost a few seconds. Can Historically Bad hold on here? Or will the spreader be enough to steal it for Sigmafan? It's going to be close. Sigmafan pounding home shot. Takes it.
Wow. Only a couple of seconds difference here.
What a wild and woolly opening game here in this match. Back and forth they went. Neither one's probably super excited how they went. Both did some good things. Both did some bad. They got to clean up certain aspects. That orb protection was not there on either side.
Yeah, 647 versus a 649. Sigma hit the done a little early, but yeah, about a 2-second differential between the two.
Sigma's got a input delay thing that has never quite been sorted out. Generally, Sigma stuff does line up because the timer will also start early, I believe. But either way, we can always frame count these things if there's any closer finishes that are within a second.
All right, just letting them know what's going on here.
And hey, everyone, how about a round of applause in the chat? Our defending champion, CHX 42 here, your world record holder in the easy percent category with a 5-minute, 5.8 second, time. That is unreal. The only person to ever break the 5:10 barrier. While we're getting set up here, guys, I'll remind you we do have 5 matches tonight. Jackamus Wedge taking on E.T. Go Ham is scheduled next. Hopefully Ham has checked in or has gone live or something of that nature. I did ping him not too long ago. We'll get that figured, and if we need to, we may have to move some other matches around. But either way, we will do what we can do. So 1-0 here, Sigmafan. Sigma's probably going to be happy to have taken that, but not happy with the performance. Historically Bad. Just the tank trouble, I think, is really where that match was lost. Just could not get control of the room properly. That was honestly the biggest thing in that match. Sigma cut, I think, 11 seconds out of the lead there. As you can tell, cut a little more in the mutoid room, but that 11 seconds in tank trouble, the biggest cut for the winner. We are underway, game number 2 for Ron.
We most certainly are, and yeah, that the TTTT typical tank trouble turmoil being a bit of a problem there for Historically Bad.
Yeah, it was not great, and also not great. Sigmafan got grenades on the feet. That grenade weapon is not great at the best of times, but it cuts your range. As you can see, Historically Bad out with a 41. Sigma's going to be well back due to that range cut. It's going to be 3.5, 4 seconds.
Yeah, just a disapproving shaking of the head, but plenty of opportunities to make it up here.
And again, collect power-ups is really feeding it Historically Bad. Rockets into a spreader. Sigma gets a spreader here. Rockets on the feet!
You love to see that, just mowing down these foot soldiers here.
The rockets are so great because they just cut through the enemy. They don't stop when they hit the first one. They kill those shrapnels in one hit. They are the best weapon in regular arena play. You'll love to see them. And it's going to, another great opening room. No orb this time, but 81 seconds and a much better opener here for Sigma. 85 seconds. So only about a 4-second lead. And now maybe we'll get to see who can scramble the best here. This is tough. Both have razor shields, so they can at least focus a little more on the shrapnels. But neither one's getting good weapons here, Ferran. It's really tough to handle this room without an orb or some rockets.
And now the game continuing to give very little invulnerability. Now rockets here for Historically Bad. And another Razor Shield for Sigma. Game, what are you doing here?
Still no orb at the 2-minute mark for either competitor. Very interesting here. 2:05, and Sigma has actually cut a second. So Sigma gained back a second there. Pretty solid, only back 3. Nice Razor Shield grab from Sigmafan, dancing through the enemy to get it. And there's the orb. First orb of the match at the 2:20 mark. Sigma gets it.
Better late than never? Question mark?
It's always nice to get an orb. You just, at this point, you're thinking, great, now I'm behind because of that. But oddly enough, I would say after this room, probably going to be had. Nice rocket use here from our rookie, historically bad. Doing a decent job of just double tapping lines of enemies. Had a couple misses, but overall not too bad. Meanwhile, Sigma riding that spreader chain here. And another one, unreal. More rockets for historically bad.
Come on, game, save it for Mutoid Man, please.
There's an extra life for historically bad. The dude is not what you want. Orb in the middle, and unfortunately did not recognize it and danced it into an enemy. That's a tough adjustment for the Rook. You hate to see it. Another extra life. We're one away from the full Gorlock.
And there's the explosion's going to tick on some time. You can see a displeased look on historically bad's face.
That's a 320 entry there. I did not catch the exact for Sigmas. I can rough math it for you on the way out the door. It's going to be about a 307 it would have been for Sigma. So a solid 13-second lead. Sigma's opening drop is a foot. Dangerous grab there. Did not lose the orb though. And he gets rockets as a second, but loses the orb here, Ferran. But got the replacement. And somehow still has it. Sigma tapping into that 4th annual tournament magic there with that dance in tank trouble. Historically bad, meanwhile, does not have much of anything to use right now. Both gunners still alive, and that makes this room a maelstrom of bullets. Gets an orb now. Razor Shield for Sigma, but loses the orb. Historically bad goes down, I believe, to a bullet. We'll get grenades here. It can possibly kill both wall gunners. That'll clean up some of the mess. Sigma's going to be out at a 425. Much better than last time by about 10 seconds or so. Historically bad gets another orb here. Able to get that one nice and clean. Sigma's opening drop in the Mutoid Man room is a lobber. Trying to use it to get rid of the gunners. Going safety, I don't disagree with it. Nades is the next drop. Meanwhile, historically bad still holding down tank trouble.
Or vice versa, tank trouble holding historically bad down.
That is true. Oh, Sigma gets a spreader in a quick invulnerability drop. We will probably see at least one more form here. Maybe another one. It's going to be close here. And pouring it in, and a key is the next drop, and that will be a changeover to Mutoid. Open chest, I meant to say. Historically bad, trying to set up for the manual. With 2 gunners, that's a tough ask.
And Sigma, meanwhile, doing some great dancing there to avoid that laser from the eyes. Well, now doesn't have to worry about it as the head's popped off.
Sigma now onto the penultimate form. Historically bad as a spreader. Didn't recognize it, though. Not early enough to take the death. Both gunners still intact. Finally gets the first arm off. Those gunners being intact just makes it really difficult.
Oh, a good spot, theoretically, to come around if the game will allow it. And it, of course, does not.
No, of course it doesn't. Sigma on final form, and that is it. Sigma, with a much better overall race, is going to go up 2-0 here in our opening match tonight.
Yeah, it looks like this will be about a 6-14 or so.
Yeah, as I said, there is that what we see versus what Sigma's seeing. There's a significant delay based on capture device. One of these days, I'll actually sit down there and you can do the thing where it like delays the feed so it lines up. I had a capture device I had to do that with once upon a time.
So does that mean, just to clarify, the time we see is the accurate time when it's stopping?
Yeah, it should be. The timer for Sigma should start a little bit before the actual menu thing happens. If it is, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Elgato, and they tend to have that delay issue. least in my experience. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, Sigma, it does not matter for this race. And if it's a close one, we will frame count just to be safe. So Historically Bad finishing up the fight here. Definitely not the run Historically Bad wanted here. Having to wait so long for an orb did not help our challenger. When you are the underdog, you need to not be underwhelmed by the power-ups of Burgundy. Is that fair to say?
I would say that's very fair to say.
And also, I believe Historically Bad is still playing on SNES Classic, so there is a bit of input delay to contend with as well. So we'll see if there's any change in that. Sigma looks like just getting up for a stretch. Historically Bad, about to finish off. Gets it done with the nades. It'll be a little under 8 minutes here. Not the run Historically Bad wanted, but you know what? It's not the slowest run of this tournament, I don't think. It's going to be close, but I don't think so. Actually, no, we've had people in the 9s. You know what? That run still beats one of our 5th seeds runs from his opening match. So there you go. Telio one, I believe, had a 753 in his matchup this week. And speaking of results from Monday night, our opening night, we had three favorites advancing: Tetsuo, Telio one, and Lucha Jim. But Lucha Jim, our 10 seed, faced a heck of a challenge from Joey Mittens. And if you haven't seen that match, you guys should check that one out. It's a good one. It goes the distance, 5 full games. It was pretty great. So hopefully Burgundy will be getting them all lined up here and ready to go. Should also, once we're underway, I'm going to have to ping Mr. Ham and make sure he's live. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, guys. This next matchup, Jackamus and ET. It's our 15 and 18 seed. There's a lot of question marks on both. Has Ham been practicing or playing the last couple of years? And, Jack has finally got himself back onto console hardware for the first time in, I believe, 4 tournaments? So hopeful to see if Jack can finally show that great skill set of his in his match. But for now, we are waiting for the start of game number 3, Sigmafan versus Historically Bad. And so far, the veteran getting it done here, up 2 games to none.
Trying to take care of a couple of things there. I made sure to ping ET Go Ham as to get ready for our next matchup going here. Jackamus is already ready.
Hopefully we'll see Ham live here. We'll check in at that. If not, we may have to pull a little bit of a what's the word?
Calling an audible?
Yeah, an audible. There we go. Thank you. We'll have to Omaha our way into another play. We're underway, game number 3. And another grenade sabotage for Sigma. Just horrible luck in the opening room today.
Maybe, but the luck has mattered most in Mutoid Man, and that's seemed to definitely come Sigma's way.
What a nuke! Sigma with the nuke has basically stolen the lead here, potentially. By
no one will ever know.
Negligible. That nuke was fantastic. Got every single enemy and got it done. So Sigma and Historically Bad, the drops have favored Historically Bad here. Nukes to open for both. Followed up by a foot and invulnerability. Nothing to write home about. Now grenades. Spreader is your first decent drop of the room. Historically Bad gets it. And now just looking for anything. We get rockets now for Historically Bad. And Sigma is going to get an invulnerability. Will pair nicely with that foot.
Just be able to run around a little bit faster to take out the enemies just by running into them.
Historically Bad's worst room collect power-ups. Still ahead, though, by a couple seconds. With the rocket, gets rid of one of the shrapnels as it runs out. Gets an invulnerability. This is a decent drop with no orb. You can just mow down these shrapnels nice and easy by touching them. Rockets for Sigma. So again, the orbs are a little shy. The option seems to be opting out.
Yeah, you don't spell orb O-P-T-O-U-T. That sounded funnier in my head, I swear.
You know what? We take a lot of shots because we make a lot of shots, something like that. Either way, it's going to be a 210 basically to a 212, 2 and change. Yeah. Rockets here for both. Sigma's is going to be lasting a little bit longer. Has a spreader refill. Oh, this is getting dicey. Oh. And remember, that spreader, what makes that spreader work on the boss so well, the extended barrel, can be a detriment in a regular room. The enemies can get inside the barrel and you can't shoot them. So it's interesting how that works out. Whether that was intentional game design or not, I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
So this is again, there's an orb, and again, Sigma gets it first, this time almost at the 250 mark. That is disgusting.
And it's unfortunate that we had it on our air live. That is indeed disgusting.
And unfortunately for Historically Bad, the drops have really dried up. Sigma getting a late Razor Shield here. And it's still going to be Historically Bad out at a 312, but Sigma is actually going to lose a little bit of time. I'm surprised. The drops favored Sigma a little bit, I thought. But you know what? This is about the closest one we're probably going to see this matchup. So it's time for some product placement. Burgundy?
Oh, Taco Bell, product placement with Taco Bell.
You got to keep the memes alive. You got to give the people what they want, which is that once a match. Nuke on the feet for Historically Bad. That'll clean up the shrapnels. And opening drop for Sigma is an invulnerability. With that orb, gets rid of one of them. Now gets a nuke. That sets up beautifully. And Sigma's got the gunners down. Historically Bad's got the gunners down. Historically Bad now with a rocket drop. If you're not going to see the orb, these weapon drops are massive for Historically Bad. But struggling to get back to the middle, does get to the spreader.
Covering the middle just when it matters most, and then kind of going out of range just to pick up, oh gosh, spreaders, rockets, just keep the Malk flowing, and more rockets for Historically Bad.
That's what you want to see. Unfortunately, that one was in a bad spot. Can Historically Bad back to the middle. Sigma doing a great job of keeping the orb alive here with the movement. Fantastic stuff.
How?
Sigma just has that tank trouble movement. Just seems to hit it when it really matters. Sigma out first with the superior firing just due to that orb. But you know what? Props to Historically Bad. That was a well-scrambled tank trouble. I believe that was deathless. Well done. No orb. That is difficult.
Extremely. Takes out the gunners. And now setting up. Does get the ball buster.
Great recognition from Historically Bad there. Realized that the swirl wasn't dead. Backed off of the lobber. It's hard to kill that swirl using the lobber. She got to land it right in the middle of the enemy where the 4 tightly packed orbs are on the body. That's how you kill it. And Sigma, oh, look at this lineup for Mutoid!
Oh, beautiful.
And we have a glitch
We have a glitchoid.
Oh yeah, that was like a foregone conclusion with that lineup here. Sigma on the second last form could probably force final here with this lobber, and indeed will. Has a small chance to sub 6. No PB in play, but a chance for the sub 6 here in a tournament race. Sigma would love to see it. Running out of time here. It's going to be close. And Historically Bad appears to be heading to a defeat. And indeed, Sigma's going to come up a little bit short on that sub 6, but a 6-0-3, 0-2, something like that. And is going to take this match 3-0.
Well, the thing you have to look forward to if you're Sigma is each race was better than the previous one.
Yes, definitely, and also very encouraging was the play in tank trouble. Historically Bad never got an orb that whole third race. The fact that Historically Bad was still in that matchup was actually a testament to how well Historically Bad played. Yeah, the weapon drops were decent in tank trouble, but Historically Bad didn't take a single death in the room. That is not easy to do. Well done by the Rook here. Tough matchup to start with, but we'll have a chance in the second chance bracket to stay alive in this tournament in their next match.
Yep, I was just taking a look at the brackets at the moment here. So Sigma is going to move on to face the winner of Hefe Man versus Citarino, and Historically Bad will face whoever loses in that particular matchup.
And that particular matchup will be tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern. That's our only match Friday. I'm looking forward to that one. Hefe Man last year had a heck of a challenge in the opening round versus Gruntiatis, a friend of his from the Punch-Out community. They took each other on, and it went the distance. Hefe probably hoping for a more dominant performance this time around versus another returning runner in Citarino, who has not been a part of the tournament for several years. So again, a bit of a wild card. Several returns this year. Very exciting to have these people coming back who were just on the cusp of the real revolution in the game, and now coming back in to see how they can do in our toughest field ever. 22 sub-6s. It's going to be pretty cool. So congrats to Sigmafan taking this match 3-0. Historically Bad dropping to the second chance bracket will await the loser of tomorrow night's matchup.